Roscommon won all of their away games in the regular part of last year's league, and despite conceding the opening score here in the fog to Darren McCurry, they plundered an early goal. After a patient build-up, it was Niall Daly who applied the finish, blasting past Tyrone goalkeeper Mickey O'Neill. And O'Neill was pressed into action to prevent the visitors from adding a second goal 5 minutes later. Kieran Murtagh was at the end of the move, but O'Neill produced the block at the expense of a 45-metre free that Donald Murtagh was unable to convert. After Peter Hart had edged Tyrone back in front, Conor Devaney landed Roscommon's first point of the contest. His score left the sides level at 4 points to 1-1. Tyrone were starting to get on top more. Cathal McShane held off the rugby-style challenge of Thomas Featherstone to set up Hart to land the point as Tyrone regained the lead, and they were to stay on top all the way to the end. Tyrone's normally solid defence looked vulnerable almost every time Roscommon got the ball close to their goal. Sean Malooly had another sight of goal for Roscommon before his shot was smothered and Cathal McCarran mopped up. Tyrone ended the opening half strongly, claiming the final 3 points. The last of them came from Jonathan Monroe, who was on target to leave the Division 2 champions ahead on a scoreline of 10 points to 1-2 at the interval. Roscommon began the second half brightly. Substitute John McManus popped up to raise a white flag, and the deficit was 5 points with 43 minutes gone. Another sub to impress after being introduced by Roscommon manager Kevin McStay was Fintan Craig. He pressed his claim for inclusion in the starting lineup to face Donegal next week, with a point to punish sloppy Tyrone defending. There were 3 points between the sides when the long-serving Sean Kavanagh was introduced for Tyrone with 12 minutes to go, and he was soon involved in the action as he set up Mark Bradley to score. Bradley is the small player who Tyrone fans hope has a big future at this level, and he provided another hint at his potential with a point to further calm their nerves. Time was against Roscommon as they desperately tried to force their way back into contention. They really needed a goal, and this late point from Craig was the last score they managed to generate. And it fell to Niall Sludden to have the final say with a point. Tyrone then more than happy to get their campaign up and running with a deserved win by a margin of 6 points.
I think ultimately Tyrone were the better team on the day, and I think we'd have to give them that. But second half, you know, I thought the lads really dug in. That match could have gone away from us very badly. We haven't as much work done as we had in other years, so I'm happy enough where we are. We'd like to be more competitive. With 10 minutes to go, the game was probably gone from us, but they kept at it, and so it gives us plenty to work on for the week ahead.
Yeah, well, this test just a little bit too much for Roscommon. The points then going to Mickey Hart's men. I suppose the thing about it is, Desi, anybody going up to Omagh to take on this current Tyrone side, they would find it a test.
Yeah, in fairness, Mickey Hart's team, it's steady progress. They seem to be getting better all the time. The likes of Peter Hart, Tiernan McCann, Niall Sludden, they're real leaders and developing, and the team is developing. Mark Bradley came on there, and good to see Sean Kavanagh coming back in.
Yeah.
Roscommon, on the other hand, it's a bit of a worry. Last year they started all guns blazing, and there was a great feel-good factor. The early start was brilliant. But next week they take on Donegal, and that's going to be a massive test for them and for Donegal as well.
Yes.
I think that's a real game, see who survives in the division. But like Kevin McStay will be disappointed. He said there that they haven't prepared as much as they would want, and that's a bit of a worry, especially in Division 1, because that is a league where unless everything is right, you're going to struggle.
Yeah. But watch next week. The 4 best teams in the country go head-to-head. Tyrone head to Croke Park next Saturday night, and Mayo have to head to Tralee next. Something now that'll tell us a lot.
That'll be a good idea for watching the programme next Sunday as well. All right, we have another break coming up here on Alliance League Sunday. In the next part of the programme, we will...
New Meath manager Andy McEntee used over 50 players in their O'Byrne Cup campaign, and several new names come into the team. Alan Douglas is a late addition replacing Paddy Kennelly, and there are first starts for goalkeeper Jack Hannigan, Shane McEntee and Cian O'Brien. Ben McCormick is the only newcomer in the Kildare team, having impressed in their O'Byrne Cup run. Just 3 of the starting 15 are over 25. The oldest, 30-year-old Ollie Lyons, is making his 64th appearance for Kildare. Kieran Brannigan from Down is the referee. We're underway at Park Talton in Navan. Kildare last won here 5 years ago. It's the 32nd meeting of these two counties. And Kildare, well, pulling Meath apart straight away already. And Ben McCormack in for a goal. The newcomer on his league debut. Ben McCormack inside 14 seconds. And Meath were asleep. And Kildare, well, they were very sharp, and so was McCormack. Kildare were badly stung after their defeat against Dublin in the O'Byrne Cup. Cian O'Neill wanted a response, and he's getting it. And that's a stunning score from Daniel Flynn, just 3 minutes in. 1-1 to no score. Meath yet to register a single point in the game so far. Here's Donal Lenihan from St. Peter's, Dunboyne. Lenihan has taken that on, and he's got the score. And that will steady the jangling Meath nerves. Kildare dominating things around midfield with Feely and Mulick going very well, and Paul Cribben continues to impress in the half-forward line. He's got 1 point in the game already, and there's a second. There is Trademark, all spectacular long-range points. Meath badly shaken by the way Kildare have started this match. Here is Cillian O'Sullivan through. O'Sullivan bearing down on goal. They're looking for a penalty. Cillian O'Sullivan did go to ground inside the large parallelogram. We'll have another look at it, but some of the Meath supporters were convinced that was a penalty. Here it is again, Cillian O'Sullivan, a great run, tackled by Keith Cribben, and then Mark Donlan came out to him. He did take a lot of steps, the Meath man, but no penalty. A big crowd in Navan. Lovely, bright, sunny day, but it is cold. Here come Kildare again, and they've got in once more. Niall Kelly into the back of the net. A second goal, and straight from Meath, looking for a penalty down at the other end. A great finish from Niall Kelly. And Meath have steadied things somewhat. They've scored the last 2 points in this game as we head towards half-time. Brian Power out to the new Meath captain, Graham Riley, has a big match coming up for his club, St. Columkills, in 2 weeks' time, and Riley slots that over to bring them that little bit closer. It's certainly better for Meath as we head towards half-time. Cillian O'Sullivan again, his pace is causing Kildare trouble, and O'Sullivan has a shot saved by Mark Donlan. Well, they were in for a goal here, and O'Sullivan, this direct running at the Kildare defence, is causing them all sorts of difficulties. Brian Menton with the line ball for Meath. They need a big start to the second half. Donal Lenihan had a very good first 35 minutes. And Lenihan gets his shot away, and that's sailed over as well. 5 in a row for Meath. The revival continues. And Kildare still with a healthy advantage, but Meath will back to within 5 points of them. Here's Ben McCormack. What a debut he's had in the National Football League, and he's continued that with their first score of the second half. Fergal Conway of Kildare. And there's Paul Cribben, and it's another spectacular long-range effort. That's his third. Meath need a goal. Brian Sheridan flicking the ball forward to the substitute, Rory O'Quillan, and his shot. There was a touch on that by a Kildare man. I don't think it was the goalkeeper, Mark Donlan, but it didn't go in. Fergal Conway has seen a lot of the ball for Kildare in the second half, the Selbridge man. Kildare, well, promoted from Division 3 last year. This is Neil Flynn. Flynn pops it up to Fergal Conway. Conway in close to goal, but his route to goal blocked by Shane McEntee, and the shot has gone into the back of the net, and it's Niall Kelly with their third goal. And is that it? Just 13 minutes into the second half, 9 between them again. And Meath will not give up. Here's Cillian O'Sullivan, has had a really impressive game, could have been in for a couple of goals. He's in again, and Cillian O'Sullivan was going for goal. It's gone over for the point. Kildare have been able to keep Meath at arm's distance for a lot of this game. Looking to increase their tally, and they have done just that, and it's Ben McCormack with another score. Jack Hannigan with the kick out to midfielder Brian Menton, and there is the full-time whistle. Kildare, impressive winners here in Navan. Meath with things still to work on. Kildare win it by 317 to 16 points.
It's 2 points, and there's 14 points, there for everyone to fight for. It's certainly a great start for us, because an away match, as I said, in Meath is not an easy task. But I think the guys put in a huge 2 weeks since your Burn Cup, and it's what we expected from them, and they did it. And they need to take all the credit today, because none of us in the management kicked the ball.
Anytime you concede 316, you're gonna lose. So that was disappointing. There was a lot of things that we talked about doing that never actually materialised. So you just got to go back to the drawing board and work a little bit harder, I suppose.
Yeah, and quite simply, Kildare could have won that match.